So buying apartments in the next 90 days, and how do you do it with little out-of-pocket capital? I'm going to break that down for you right here. I'll go back and forth between the board behind me and then just sharing on the screen. So I'll do that as well, just FYI, as we're going through it. So let's get started. This is my promise to you tonight. How to buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment building in the next 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket. If I can get you to believe that and see that tonight, would that be worth it to you? To have that knowledge and some detail in a game plan of how you're going to execute. So full disclaimer, you're not going to become a multi-gazillionaire off one deal. Now you could, but the chances are you actually really doing this and becoming an automatic millionaire just are not realistic. But you are setting yourself up for the future and for your future self and your family. Everybody in here said, hey, I want the generational wealth. I want to spend more time with family. I want to make a certain amount of, say, maybe passive income per se, so that way I actually have more free time, to go to my kids' soccer games, to travel, to take more trips, to spend more time with friends and family versus sitting in a cubicle job, working for the man in a rat race, right? I totally get it. In 2008, when I got started, I was just trying to survive the financial crisis. Anybody here go through the financial crisis? I lost a lot of money. My dad lost everything. We're going to get into that, I'm sure. Did anybody lose everything too? Let's talk about that. But what I did know is this. I did know I wanted to be a millionaire. That I did know. To do that is literally $2,379 a day. I don't know if you've calculated that for yourself, but that's $1 million in actual earnings. Currently, I own nearly 1,000 units and over $185 million in real estate. And our goal is to head towards 1 billion in 10,000 units. I want you to pay attention to that because there's a bigger reason for why we're even here tonight, why I'm even doing this teaching and the things that we do, right? It's to grow community. It's to grow collaboration, opportunities, because you don't go from 1,000 units to 10,000 units alone. You're not going to go from 0 units to where you want to go alone. It doesn't happen in multifamily. Collaborations, partnerships, community, that's how you grow. That's how you grow. It's very, very important. So I did start with one condo, okay? Started with one condo, $100,000 in 2010. We put $25,000 down, got a $75,000 loan. Cash flowed that thing really well, though. We cash flowed that thing really well. So what was it? One question came in and say, hey, I know you say in 90 days you'll help get us a deal, but using Crexy, what would a decent or good deal would give me passive income? We'll get into that. Great question. Yes, we'll absolutely get into that. But that's how I got started. We put $25,000 down, $75,000 loan, cash flowed that thing beautifully. It wasn't that much money per month. That wasn't the point. But look at the freaking cash on cash return. I mean, that's silly. And if you don't know what cash on cash return is, that's just the amount of return percentage wise you're making on your money annually based on the money you have in, right? So if I had $1,000 in the deal and I was getting 27% return on that, I'd be getting that back, right? $270 a year on $1,000, 27%. The financial crisis. It was a crazy time. This is little Justin, and that's my dad. Rest in peace, Mr. Brennan. My dad passed away this year, unfortunately. Been tough, but I learned a lot. But this was the financial crisis. This was the time. And if all you guys went through it, been around it, watched what happened, it was wild. I mean, it was wild. I will never forget this. It was actually April 8th, 2008 at 8:35 in the morning. A lot of eights. My dad, right, walks into my office, right, closes the door, sits down at the desk, and proceeds to tell me that the banks had called and they were shutting down all the construction loans because we had a bunch of construction loans out at that time. We were building stuff. And I'm like, well, they can't do that. And he says, I know, I told them that too. And they said, sue us. like they knew everybody was going down. They knew everybody was going down, so it didn't matter. They said, sue us. Because if we're going to fight you, everybody's going to fight each other. Who gives a rat's, you know what? Let the party start. And that's what started it for us. And so at that time, my dad was highly leveraged, over leveraged. Market started to tank. The velocity was very violent, as everybody remembers. and he lost everything. Went through a massive bankruptcy at that time. I mean, it was crazy. And I helped kind of consolidate things for him, helped him out, learned an enormous amount during that time. I mean, they tell you that in moments of suffering, greatness is born. I mean, it'll test your loins, that is for sure. But I'm sure I'm very curious. Who remembers that time? Did you lose a house? Did you lose a relationship? Did you lose friends? Did you lose a job? Does anybody remember the financial crisis and you going through it? Or if you were old enough at that time? If you weren't, totally okay. Totally okay. But I'm very, very curious. Who went through it and who remembers that? We're going to keep going, but I want you guys to pay attention to that because you learn a lot of things during these moments. So 2008 went through the collapse. 2008 through 2010, I became an asset manager for a lot of the major banks. I was a third-party asset manager for Chase, EMC, WAMU, Countrywide, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. I mean, the list kept going. And we were handling all of their foreclosures for them. And it was crazy. I mean, it was so chaotic. I was on the banking side where I'm sitting there going, these guys are so irrational, and I'm working for them. Long story short, 2010 to 2020, I jumped out. Like I saw an opportunity in the short sale market, becoming a short sale agent as a real estate broker, and I did that. All the meanwhile, we started buying property, our first deal, $100,000 condo. So then here's this game, right? From 2000, we kind of learned this game in 2018, the OPM game. And that is what we are here to talk about tonight. It's what you're here to talk about tonight. For everybody here, you have to understand this. The United States economy, as you know it today, is made up of two clusters: creators and contributors, creators and contributors, creators and contributors. Most of you here tonight, if you are in a W-2 position where you're earning a Friday paycheck and you're an employee to someone else, working for the man, you are a contributor. There's only so far you can go with that. The U.S. economy, while good to you, is not going to be great to you. It can't. It's not designed for that. It's designed for creators, people, entrepreneurs, investors, business owners, people that move a lot of money. The more money you move, the more tax benefits you get. That is the name of the game. Does anybody agree with me on that? You're writing those subprime loans as a loan officer. Boom. By the way, does anybody, since you mentioned subprime, by the way, and subprime loans in 2008, has anybody seen the documentary? It came out many years ago on CNBC called House of Cards. And it illustrated the reason why the financial crisis even happened. And did you know that it actually all started with a Lebanese immigrant selling Mercedes at Fletcher Jones Mercedes in Newport Beach? And you probably are all going, what? What? No. What? Let me explain. So there was a Lebanese immigrant. He was selling Mercedes to people coming in at Fletcher Jones Mercedes in Newport Beach, California. A lot of these young men and women coming in all in their 20s, buying $100,000 Mercedes. And this car salesperson sitting there going, what in the, you know what? How are these people affording these Mercedes? And then, lo and behold, they're loan officers, right? And they're writing all kinds of funny loans and other things, but the subprime hadn't really kicked in yet. So, Lebanese immigrant, he doesn't really know he couldn't get into the A-prime paper stuff, so he had to start a company called Quick Loan Funding. That funding company was the subprime starter because he could only write subprime B and C paper loans to people who really didn't have great credit. Well, in the beginning, people didn't really want to botch at it, but what happened is they started making so much money on it. And the first big taker on Wall Street to buy these loans in a package was Bank of America. And they bought them from Quick Loan Funding. And then everybody saw all the other banks started to fall in line because they saw how much money they were making. So then Countrywide, WAMU, Wells Fargo got into it a little bit, Chase, all these other players started getting into it. And it just began to explode until the point where we imploded. So that is the deal. Just so you know, it all started in Newport Beach and then spread throughout the United States. So back to this. One unit, 2010 for $100,000. 2018, 20 units, 3.5 million. When I'd mentioned to you, we went from one condo to this. Now, you would probably say, well, Justin, that's really good, man. You had 20 units and $3.5 million, and we had duplexes and triplexes and quads and all that other stuff. It was great. Not a problem. Most of this was done with our own money. And we literally started from here and got to that. So that's a big win. We wanted more. Like, this was not, for us, this was not sufficient. We want more. But we were running out of our own money. So I had to learn this game. I had no idea what this meant. OPM. I had no idea what syndicating was. Who understands or knows the term or heard the term syndicating? If you've watched enough YouTube or Google it enough, you'll know this. Okay? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay. Let's get into the nitty gritty now. So 20 units in 2018, $3.5 million in assets. Fast forward. So from 2018 to nearly 1,000 units today and 185 million. So how did we do that in such a short window of time and go from that to that? You have to understand the game of scaling your money. We didn't take out any more equity here. We used the equity that was in these babies, pulled it, moved it, and then scaled by using OPM, our money, some of our money in conjunction with other people's. And that's what we're going to talk about, because this is the game of money. You have to know how to move money and scale money. And if you can learn this and has a skill set to do it correctly, that's where the Holy Grail's at. I mean, let me ask you a question. The 3 wealthiest people in the world, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, probably Larry Carlson or Ellison, and then Meta guy, right? Zuckerberg. What percentage of Tesla does Elon own? Does anybody know? Does anybody know? Less than 10%. He's the most wealthy person in the world. Jeff Bezos. How much of Amazon does he own? Less than 10%. The guy that owns NVIDIA, right? Multi-billionaire. Less than 10%. So the wealthiest people in the world and all the business owners and everybody else have figured this game out for business, right? Businesses. You need to figure it out for real estate. It's the same concept. You're just doing real estate versus business. Same concept. You're scaling money. You're using some of yours with other people's, and you go. And I don't want anybody in here to start with the limiting beliefs that you can't do it. We're going to get through that tonight. So let's keep going. The thing is mindset. We've got to break through the mindset. Everybody in here has limiting beliefs. And there's 3 false beliefs that a lot of people have when I ask them about doing apartments. Like, they literally say, this is belief pattern number 1, 2, and 3. And I need to break through them, and I don't know where to start and how to do this. We're going to try and break through them tonight. Okay, we're going to try and break through them tonight. So here we go. You need the mindset. We're going to help you out. So how can you buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment building in the next 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket? These are the 3 belief patterns we've got to break through. Number 1, the belief and the false belief that you need a lot of money to get started. Who here has that belief? You need a lot of money to get started. Chime up, thumbs up if you do, thumbs down if you don't. Belief false number 2, multifamily is too complex. You have to be an expert. BS. I'm going to show you that tonight. Number 3, deals are too hard to find. It's oversaturated. Too difficult to find good deals. Baloney. I'm going to show you that tonight too. Here we go. So belief number 1, that you need a lot of money to get started. Let me show you how you actually break it down. I'm going to literally show you right now how for $20,000 out of pocket. Let's take a $1.5 million deal. Let's say this was a 15-unit deal. Okay, let's say it was a 15-unit deal. $1.5 million, $100,000 a unit. And we did $100,000 in renovations. We had closing costs of maybe $50,000. Total all in at $1,650,000, all in cost. Okay? We go out and get a loan for $1,150,000. It's 70% loan. Getting that loan, everybody, is easier than getting a house loan for $200,000. Does anybody know why? The simple answer is this. An apartment building is a business. No different than your Chipotle down the street or your McDonald's over here or the Yo-Yo Frollo place over here. It's a business. It has a revenue, it has expenses, and it has a profit named net operating income. And that net operating income, if sufficient enough, will pay the bank for that loan. And if the bank likes it, they will literally walk out the front of their bank and they will chuck the money in the back of your truck. That's because they love to give you money. That's not your problem. The deal just has to make sense to do it. Okay. So as long as the business is making money or can make money, the bank will throw the money at you. They're not looking at you to qualify for this loan. They're looking at the property, the business. You're secondary. Your credit is secondary. You're under everything's secondary, right? As long as you're not a fraud, they're going to probably give you the money within reason on a deal like that. Much easier to get than a $200,000 house loan. Okay. So that's the loan part. So you have 70% of the money taken care of. Now we get to the nitty gritty that stops everybody. Because everybody's like, dude, I don't have 500 grand. And my response to you is, I know you may not. That's okay. I'm not expecting you to. I didn't. That's 30%. All you're going to be bringing in is 10% of it. You're going to be coming in with 50 grand. 50 grand. But it gets better. So hold on. The other part of it, 495,000. That's 90%. That's going to come from OPM. This is the game you need to learn. OPM comes in many different forms. It can be friends and family. It can be seller financing, creative financing. It can be people in communities, our community. It can be private lending. There are so many ways that OPM gets put together. Don't let that stop you. Okay, don't let that be a roadblock. Oh, can't do it. Oh, can't do it. I won't do it. I won't move forward. No, you'll find it. The deal makes financial sense. The money will chase you down the street. Trust me. Money loves making money. Money loves good deals. It's that simple. Go find a good deal first. That's our focus tonight. How do you find good deals? You need to find good deals. And we're going to break through that tonight. So, $50,000 out of pocket from you. 10% of the money is that 50 grand. You get 40% of the deal. So what people don't understand is they're like, okay, well, I'm putting in 10%. How much can I get of the deal? You're going to get 30 to 40% of the actual deal, but you're going to have 100% control. So don't mistake, right? Don't mistake control with the percentage that you get. They're two separate things. You're going to have 100% control of the deal, running decision making, everything in it. Now, you may only have 30, 40% of the deal, but you're only bringing in 10% of the money. You're scaling your money. Okay. The greatest part about that is you're also getting, does anybody know what an acquisition fee is? Has anybody heard this term? Acquisition fee. So an acquisition fee is basically something that you get as a syndicator, right? Sexy term for putting a deal like this 10 or 15 unit together. That's paid to you as part of that. Typically it's 2 to 3% of the purchase price. So let's take the low end of the bargain. Let's take a 2% on $1.5 million. That's 30 grand. So 50,000 goes in. I close escrow. 30,000 comes out. It's all built into my closing cost, by the way, up here. So it's all built into the cost. How much do I have out of pocket? How much do I actually have out of pocket? 50,000 went in. 30,000 came out. 20,000 bucks. So for $20,000 out of pocket, I have control of a 15-unit, $1.5 million apartment deal, probably somewhere in the middle part of the United States or outside of the major coastal zones, because that's where price per unit changes, okay? That's how it breaks down. That is literally how a 15-unit simple breakdown would work. Any questions on this you can think about before I move on? We'll dive into this a little bit further, but this is kind of, just so you understand, you can't get caught up in the money. You're only coming out of pocket with 10% of the actual money. And then you're getting almost a rebate called an acquisition fee for closing the deal and putting it together. It's all part of it. But ask a quick question before we move on, okay? Just so you understand that. But that's how an apartment building would break down. You're not bringing in all the money. If you have 500 grand to bring in, you're only bringing in 10% of it. The rest is coming from this game of OPM. Now we need to figure out, how do we run the OPM game? Okay, how do you raise money? How do you deal with the money side? Okay, that's all the stuff you need to learn, but it's critical because that's how the game of scaling money works. Quick little question came in. Can you explain the equity section again? Yes, I may. So the equity, you got $1,150,000 loan. So the loan's gone. You have $500,000 left over. That's what you have to bring in. That's your down payment. Most people will stop right there and go, well, I don't have it, so therefore I'm not even going to go forward anymore. No. You are only bringing in 10%. You're going to syndicate the deal. You're bringing in some of your money. and you're going to bring in OPM, other people's money, to put a deal like this together. That OPM is $495,000. That's 90% of the money. You're bringing in 10%. Here's the cool part. For doing that, you get 40% of the deal, and you're going to get an acquisition fee of $30,000. So you're actually only out of pocket 20 grand. Let's see. William had asked, what about a vacant complex 20 unit? Well, it's going to be super cheap because it's not generating any income. So I'd be curious about that one. I mean, opportunity is there, but you probably have to buy it cash. So frequently asked questions I get. Hey, Justin, I want to make $10,000 to $20,000 a month in income from this apartment game. How many deals do I need to make that happen? The answer is 3 to 4 deals. 3 to 4 deals on average in the 10 to 30 unit space will produce that, because on average per 10 to 30 unit deal, $2,500 to $4,000 a month to you in your pocket. In your pocket. So 3 to 4 deals, that can happen. That can happen. So that's that question. I get that a lot because you have a lot of folks similar to you where you're in a good position, you're earning money, and you're saying, dude, okay, like I like what I do, but I want to go over here, but I need to make $10,000, $20,000 a month in order to have that make sense. Like, how do I do that? How many deals do I need on average? So on average, this is what it takes. So if you were in a position where you said, hey, I want to transition, a lot of people are in it where they're like, man, I want to be out of my job or out of what I'm doing in 2 to 3 years. Boom. You can absolutely do that by executing that plan all day long. Okay, all day long. All day long. Question coming in. So we actually need 50K, and then in time you get the 30K back. It happens almost simultaneously, by the way. You're not waiting. It happens at the close of escrow. Close of escrow. On that, and that's that particular deal, by the way. Right? There's deals that are less money. But yes, 50, you bring in 10% of the money. Whatever the requirement for down payment money is, you're bringing in 10%. Then you're getting an acquisition fee in return. It offsets. Okay? Yeah, Kevin had answered that question. Please clarify the profit and loss on an investment. Yeah, we'll get into that. Great question. How much time is needed each week to actually be successful in this game? 5 to 10 hours a week in the beginning. 5 to 10 hours a week in the beginning to be successful in this. Okay? I get that question a lot. The other question, hey, I only have 20 to 50K. Can I get started doing this? Yes, I just showed you can, 100%. Some capital is needed to own and syndicate apartments, but you're learning the process of scaling money and leveraging your money with other people's money to own and control apartments. That's why you do it. The reason why you want to own and control apartments, you guys, you can make good money flipping houses, wholesaling, other types of real estate investments. You can make good money doing that. You can make good money doing other things in life. The benefit of apartments, despite the cash flow, despite the profits, despite all the other cool things about it, it's the tax benefits. Okay? Lo and behold, that is the holy grail, because one of the biggest write-offs still in the IRS tax code is done through real estate, primarily commercial real estate, and allowing you to accelerate depreciation through bonus depreciation and wipe out your taxable gains on your tax returns. Okay, that is the holy grail. It's not about what you make. It's about what you keep. I don't care if you make $2 million a year if $1.5 million of it goes away or Uncle Sam. That doesn't work, right? I want you to make $2 million, and I want you to keep $2 million. And you can do that through real estate, okay? Okay, the belief that you need a lot of money to get started, if you found a 20-unit deal that made financial sense in the next 90 days, could anybody on here get access to $50,000, $20,000? Could you get access to that? If you found a deal, a 20-unit, in the next 90 days that made financial sense, and I'll talk about financial sense here in a minute, could you get access to that? Could you come up with it? Come up with 20 to 50,000, you get 40% of the deal, an acquisition fee, $30,000, and you get paid 5 to 8 ways throughout owning the building. Could you figure that out? Could you get access to it? Yes or no? Yes. Great. So if you knew that you could kick ass and take names and that deal made sense, you could find that money, you could get that money. Because that's the mindset you have to have. No different than if you knew that something was worth something no matter what. Like if somebody came to us tonight and they said, hey, I'm going to give you my Ferrari. It's out front for $10,000. I'm going to literally give you this brand new Ferrari for 10 grand. And let's say you only had $5 in your bank account, but you get the Ferrari for 10 grand and you know the thing's worth 100,000+. Would you find a way to get the 10 grand if this was real? The answer is yes. The question is why? Why would you do that? You have no money in your bank. How are you going to get the 10 grand? You'd figure out a way. Why? Because you know what the true value is. No different than here. If you know that the true value is there, you need to make it happen. Okay? You got to make it happen. Question, I'll answer a couple quick questions here real quick. You're saying that if you find a deal, so we need to find a deal or find deal for us. I wouldn't say for us, with you. Okay? We hope that. And yes, we're going to get into how you find deals. We're going to get into how you find deals. So the belief pattern that's there, it's just not true. You do not need a lot of money. You do not need a lot of money. 15, 30, 50,000 bucks. You can absolutely execute this plan and become a multi-millionaire in apartments all day long. All day long. So that belief pattern, I need you to throw that out the window. We just disproved it. I just literally showed you how you can do it. Belief pattern number one that's false, that you have to be an expert. It's only for experts only. Listen, everybody here that's in part of our multifamily schooled community, they were not experts when they started. These were normal people, 9-to-5ers, right? People, maybe they're entrepreneurs, but in the beginning stages, not super wealthy, didn't have a ton of capital, certainly didn't know real estate that well, had no idea about this game of OPM, syndicating apartments, any of this stuff. None of it. None of it. But they had to learn it. They understood it. Okay, they understood it. Let me show you this. And this is ACUS, okay? This is ACUS. So I'm going to play this quick little video and share this on the screen so you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
So as soon as I listened to the crash course, I got hooked. It was so funny because that one is a small course. Yeah. However, I think I shared with you before that one of the parts that I enjoy the most is that you simplify language for many of us, and English is my second language. So I really enjoy the way that you were teaching and
saying and being able to kind of explain the complex details and nuance in a layman's terms simple format to where it actually resonates. Is that what I'm gathering?
Correct, because there is a lot of terminology out there for real estate that seems very intimidating, especially for those who are new to the real estate investment business. And you made it so easy and simplify it in a way that, for me, resonates. It reminded me a little bit of the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. It's like that.
I mean, I will take that compliment.
So does anybody know who Ken McElroy is by chance? He wasn't an expert when he got started. Was not an expert when he got started. Does anybody know who Ken McElroy is? Chime in the chat on that. Because right now, I mean, he bought his first deal when he was in college, freshman in college in 1990. Today he's got over $3 billion and 9,000 units in 5 different states. Noted as one of the best gurus in the business. Whether you've heard of him or not, owns an enormous amount of apartment buildings. Golfer probably. Yes, very possible. Very possible. But that's key to know that. Okay? Does anybody recognize any of these faces? Any of these faces at all? I'm just curious. Right, you got Brandon Turner, love that guy. Ryan Pineda, Uncle G, you got Mr. Grant Cardone. This is Robert Martinez, apartment rock star, incredible human. And then you got Carlos Reyes in the space. He's huge, he's tall. Anybody know Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets? And then also he has Better Life and stuff now, super cool guy. But just curious if anybody knows that. But, you know, these guys were not experts, right? Not experts when they started. They had to learn somewhere. They had to start somewhere. So this belief pattern that you have to be an expert to do this, you just don't. You just have to learn it. You have to learn it. It's the key process. So you're either going to bring the sweat equity or you're going to bring the cash equity. Has anybody heard that before? You bring the sweat check, right? The check for sweat or the check for cash. It's one of those two. Or you can bring both if you're lucky enough, but most people don't have, they have one or the other. They either have capital and they need somebody with know-how, or they have the know-how but they don't have the money. Which one would you say you are? Are you the check equity or are you the sweat equity? Which one are you? Check equity or sweat equity? And if you're both, congratulations. You're kind of like a unicorn. You're kind of like a unicorn. Tony, awesome. Both. Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, we got some players in here tonight. I like it. I like it. So you got both. Beautiful. So you got that choose. So the belief pattern that you have to be an expert is just not the case. So let's throw that one out the window. So 2 of the 3 are down. That you need a lot of money, we showed you that's not the case. That you have to be an expert, it's just not the case. You just have to learn it. But that's why you do this type of stuff. So you can learn this stuff to become expert. Now, belief pattern number 3, the false belief that deals are hard to find. It's oversaturated and it's too difficult, so therefore I shouldn't even start. It's just not true. Let me show you why. There are 2 ways to find deals. Direct to broker or the direct to the owner. Which one do you think is easiest? Which one, if you're a newer person, should you go with? So, I mean, and it can be either or, right? It can be either or. But the key component to it all is that you choose which one is going to work best for you. It's going to work best for you. But direct to broker, direct to owner. But let me show you the benefits of each and why we use both to actually execute this plan. So, if you do it alone, you're right. Deals are hard to find. Okay, they're hard to find. If you do it alone, deals are hard to find. If you do it together, deals are easier. Direct to broker, direct to the owners. This is how you do it. So let me ask you a question. What if you found a community of other investors doing deals around the United States, okay, where you could learn the insider techniques to equip you with the skills to uncover off-market properties by using brokers and their market listings, where you could see the details that others are missing, providing the market is ripe with potential and opportunities out there, and be a part of a community that's collaborating, sharing deals, making things happen, and finding things around the country direct to the brokers. Would that be a benefit? And then the direct owner approach. There's plenty of softwares out there. Plenty of softwares that help you do this stuff. Most of them are directed at single family, finding wholesales and flips, and direct to owner approaches for that type of real estate. That's fine. Ours does that too. But we took it a step further. We added in the commercial side of it to go direct to the owners through commercial real estate and find off-market, pre-market, direct to owner, multifamily apartment deals through our software called Real Estate Radar. And we use it for ourselves. This is how we've been able to wholesale and do deals around the country. This is how we create our Deals on Demand program to help a lot of the people in our community that if they're not finding deals in a 90-day window, we can basically hand one to them on a silver platter because it's pre-vetted. We found it using our software. Boom, there you go. So you have the direct to owner approach and you have the direct to broker approach. Those are the 2 ways to find deals. Any questions on that as I kind of open it up a little bit before we move on? Let's talk about the deal finding part because that is number 1. You have to find good deals. You have to be a good deal finder because that is step 1, guys. If you can't find deals, that's pointless because then you can't analyze them, you can't raise money, you can't close, and you can't manage. You have to find good deals because that is the start of the process. If you find a good deal that makes financial sense, raising the money and putting the capital together, it's not as hard, not nearly as hard, okay? If I came to you and I said, hey, I have this 15-unit apartment deal. Projected returns are between 15 to 20% IRR, and that's internal rate of return. It has a 6 to 10% cash on cash and a 1.8 equity multiple. Now, if you have no idea what these terms are, don't worry. Don't worry. It's not a problem. I'm going to show you how that works. But you were asking earlier what makes up a good deal. What makes up a good deal? And this is what makes up a good deal. If it's producing 15 to 20+% internal rate of return on your money every year, good deal. Cash on cash of 6 to 10% or more per year, good deal. 1.8 equity multiple, meaning if I give you 100 grand, I get 180 back, good deal. It has to match all 3. That's your deal. You need a good deal analyzer that quickly does that for you, so that way you don't have to do all these crazy calculations. You can just plug in some numbers and boop, it pops it out for you. But that's how you get the deals that make sense. If you can do that, finding the money is not hard, because people love this. Your problem is not getting people to invest in real estate with you. That's why everybody's on here tonight. You're here because you love real estate and you want to invest in it. You just need good deals that make financial sense. That's what you need. And then you need a pathway to make it happen. Because if you have good deals that make financial sense, everybody wants to invest in real estate. They just need a deal that makes sense. They need a trustworthy person to invest with and a process by which to bring the money in. And the money will find you. It'll chase you. Money loves making money, and it loves good deals. This is your focus. This is your focus. So that's why we went out and we said, okay, how do we actually get people to execute the direct-to-broker approach of finding good deals? Because the pre-market stuff is where it's at. Off-market deals is where it's at in commercial. And then how can we go direct to owners behind the scenes with software to provide us an advantage through AI technology to identify and then search and reach out and all that other game direct to the apartment owners like me? And how do we do both? And put it together in a nice little sexy package to have it make sense for people. So that way if they wanted to go execute this, they could learn it and do it. Learn it and do it. Make sense? And that's where the game is at. You got to find good deals. You got to find good deals. Joseph, you asked how you find good deals. That's what a good deal is. And then the process is either one of the two, direct to broker or direct to owner. Ask me a more specific question around that, about how you find good deals. Is it the process I would use direct to the broker? Is it that specific process and how I would do that? Because the software speaks for itself. The software speaks for itself. And there's lots of software out there. The deal analyzers will calculate the numbers for you, Roger. So little kind of deal analyzers that we have that people get when they come into our universities and communities and stuff, you get the analyzers. That's a very plug and play model that pops everything out for you. You plug some numbers in. So that the deal analyzers will do the math for you. Yeah, great question though. Explain IRR. IRR is internal rate of return. That's what it stands for, internal rate of return. It is essentially the annual rate of return on your money. It's like the velocity of it. How fast is the money coming and at what percentage rate is that happening? So that's what IRR is. It's, hey, I'm getting what percentage per year on my money? So if I'm getting 15 to 20% a year on your money, I mean, think about what's happening in the stock market right now. This is why I simply just put my money into a 401k that's internal with my own company, and I don't even look at it. And I only drip into it. I don't put a lot of money into it. Why? Because most of my stuff's going into real estate I can control against cash flowing assets that are appreciating against fixed rate debt. I can depreciate the crap out of it, write off all my taxes. I don't pay Uncle Sam squat, haven't done it in 8 years, and then watch this stuff go to the moon. And I sit tight because it's cash flowing beautifully. That's the game. And then I don't give a rat's ass what happens on Wall Street, stock market, up, down, left, right. It can do its fugazi, whatever it is it does. It's irrelevant to me, right? Because there's cash flow coming in. You have low leverage debt, so you're not over leveraged on deals. So you can sleep at night because the tenants are paying it. Even if you have some vacancy, it's paying for itself. Away you go. Away you go. And that's the name of the game. The name of the game. Perfect. Let's keep going. So the belief pattern that they're hard to find and things are oversaturated, it's not the case. You just need a good method or methods to find them. Direct to broker, direct to owner. Direct to broker and a process to execute that. Okay? That's how it makes sense. And you do it together. You don't do it alone. Okay? If you do it alone, right, deals are hard. If you do it in collaboration, deals are easy. That's that game. That's how you find it. The difference between single family and multifamily. These are the biggest differences that people get caught up with. Yes, big difference in cash flow. Yes, there's a big difference in profits and sale or a refinance of that property, single family or multifamily. The name of the game is you get paid 5 to 8 ways in multifamily. Did you know that? Did you know coming in tonight that when you buy a multifamily apartment building, you get paid 5 to 8 different ways at different times throughout the life cycle of the ownership? Were you aware of that? But yeah, you get the acquisition fee that comes out first, asset management fees for managing the managers, right? You're hiring property managers, you're managing the managers, you get paid a fee. Tax benefits, the fees at the sale, finder's fees if you're a good deal finder, construction management fees if you're doing renovations during the cycle of ownership, all the above. And then on top of that, you're getting profits and cash flow on top of that. So all of these plus those, that's the holy grail of multifamily. It's a great way to get cash flow and profits and everything, and then offset it through depreciation to where you avoid paying Uncle Sam. It's amazing, guys. When you understand it, that's the holy grail of why people do this, right? You're earning money in multiple ways at multiple times all over the place while you're owning this building, and you're getting the benefit from all of it, and you get the depreciation through the tax write-offs to offset your income. I mean, this is why I have not paid Uncle Sam in 8 years. And it's not because we don't make money. It's because you can leverage things correctly through bonus depreciation, accelerating depreciation. These are all things we get into, but that's the holy grail. It's the name of the game. So let me give you a case study real quick, and we'll finish up on this case study. This is an actual deal I did, and I want to show you how for $19,000 out of pocket, I was able to buy and control a 31-unit building. So we bought this thing for $1,525,000. We did $400,000 in renovation to it. The closing cost of $225,000. All in at $2.150 million bucks. All in at $2.150 million bucks. Now, we went out and got a loan for $1.5 million. 70% loan to value, loan to cost on that loan. It was easier to get that loan than it was a $500,000 house loan, guys, because the property made great financial sense. It took care of itself. The bank loved it. They threw the money out the front window. The equity was $600, almost $50,000 bucks. I brought in 10%, just like I showed you earlier. 10%. That's 64 grand. The rest came from about 9 people. Brought in $581,000. I got an acquisition fee for putting the deal together. My out of pocket, $45,000 came back, 64 went in. That delta, 19 grand. And now I had control and ownership of a 31-unit deal. But it gets better. This 31-unit, we went in and renovated this thing. 24 months later, the value of it went from $1.525 to $3.6 million. Now we went and got a new loan on it. We did a cash out refinance. We pulled out $2.5 million. We paid off our $1.5 million loan. We paid back the $650,000 to our investors. I pocketed $355,000, tax-free, by the way, it's debt. Got an asset management fee of 1%, 40% of the profits in the cash flow, $2,000 a month for 5 years, that's $120,000. Net profits from the sale, another $470,000. So for $19,000, okay, I made $590. So 32x over a 5-year window. Now you tell me where else, and keep in mind, this is a medium risk where it's not high risk, it's not super low, medium risk asset against cash flowing stuff for that kind of a return when you put these deals together. This is why you want to be the general partner on these deals. This is why you work so hard to put these types of deals together, because you get paid handsomely when you do well. If you produce for other people, you get paid well. It's simple like that. You're basically your own hedge fund manager of an apartment complex. Think of it like that. You're almost like a fund manager for an apartment complex because you're putting it together, you're coordinating it and managing it, and for that you get paid handsomely. Okay, you get paid handsomely. Any questions on that? Yes, there will be a replay on this. Did you need proof of income to acquire that loan? Yes and no. Yes and no, Brian. So here's how the conversation typically goes with the banks and or with the brokers. Because you're syndicating, right? You're raising the equity. You may have to provide proof of your money, your 10%, okay? Right? Your 10%, yes. But in terms of the rest of the money, it's going to be syndicated in. You let them know that. Syndicating is very, very common. It's not unusual. So, and then in terms of your loan, they're going to give that based on the deal itself. So the brokers may ask, hey, like, do you have a lender letter, proof of funds letter from the banks, all that stuff? And you can get these in a kind of pre-qualification format, very easy. And then you're showing your proof of funds, sure. And then the rest of this comes in from syndicating. And you just simply let them know that we syndicate our equity, here's our investors, here's how we do it, blah, blah, blah. It absolutely works. Don't worry about that. Don't get caught up in that Trust me, that'll stop you at the front gate. It's not what you think it is. It's much easier than that once you have a deal that makes sense. Okay. But that's also why you start bite-sizable. That's why you're not going after some massive deal on your first one. Because if this number were $1 million, that'd be a lot harder on your first one. If this is a couple $100,000, it's a lot easier. This is why we start everybody that comes in 10 to 30 units, 10 to 30 units, 10 to 30 units. Because you're dealing with mom and pop brokers, mom and pop sellers, more mom and pop lenders. They know that you're a newbie. They're not expected some massive resume. So because of that, you can execute this plan and it makes sense. You're not having to be some guru that's been doing this for 15 years. Everybody starts somewhere. Start in the 10 to 30 unit space. You can execute. Then you can go to the next one. Then you go to the next one. Okay, does it make sense? But that's how you do it. Great question, though. Yeah, we go through all of that. It's a great question. Beautiful. Can you provide your 10% from a loan from friends? Yes, technically you can. The bank doesn't need to know about that. You're going to get it, right? It's in your bank account. They're not looking for the crazy sourcing of that. It's not like residential. They really want to track it. They just want to make sure it's not foreign investment money like that from a Patriot Act standpoint. But yes, you can get a loan from friends for your 10%. Great question. Todd had asked, is creating a real estate fund better than a syndication? Technically it is, but you won't be able to create a fund because no one will invest with you until you've done some deals in a fund. The reason people go into funds is they're betting on the strategy. Well, if you haven't done it before, you don't have a strategy to bet on. So you have to do deal by deal in the beginning, then you can go to a fund. I've tried that method. I've had a lot of people who've done that too. The best way is to do deal by deal for your first few. Then there's a track record. So now your strategy's in place. People will come into a fund, which is like a pool of money. So that way you can go do deals. But they're betting on you now. They're betting on the strategy. Make sense? Great question, though. All right, so my promise to you is this. How to buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in the next 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket. I think we did that. Did I show that to you? Did I make my promise? Awesome. Joanne said, how much cash flow did you get on the 31 unit in the beginning of owning the property? I showed you I was getting about $2,000 a month in the very beginning, and then it grew as the cash flow on the property grew. It grew as the cash flow on the property grew. Great question, though. How long does it take the OPMs to get their investment in return? It should be happening immediately. However, some deals, the first 12 months is less as you're making the property better, then it increases after that. Okay. But what you need to focus on is what is the average annual return on my money over the course of owning this apartment building? Because that's really what you're looking at, right? It's not the short term. The cash flow is cute. It's nice. But what is that combined with appreciation plus tax benefits plus everything else in a nice little package? What is the overall returns for you and for the investors? Because that's really what you're looking at. Larry, on the accredited investor side, because they didn't know me. That's right. That's correct. Yeah, you got to go deal by deal to start. Because they're when it's a deal, they know what it is. They can see it, touch it, feel it. It's this building, this deal. I'm putting my money into this deal. Then you do another one, then now you have a little track record. Now you can start to create a fund because they're betting on you as the strategy. You have a little bit of a runway. Great question, though. So investors wait and not get cash flow in the beginning. It's deal by deal, Joanne. Some deals cash flow immediately. Some deals take a little time. It's deal by deal, deal by deal. But most of them will cash flow from the get-go, especially in today's market. Yes, we use property managers. We hire third-party property managers on all our deals. I don't want to deal with toilets and tenants every day. You don't either. If you have a 9-to-5 job that you're spending a lot of time and energy on, you want this to be kind of a side hustle in the beginning to where it earns you enough money, like we talked about earlier, to at some point, you can maybe say bye-bye to the 9-to-5 and go full-time. But until then, you need people handling the day-to-day, the toilets and tenants, so you're not managing it. Great question. So, and this is like entry point stuff depending on where people are at. And this is based on feedback I got. Multifamily university. This is our community and university system that we have. Tonight, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to try it out, and you can try it out literally for $3. Okay, it's like my greatest deal thing ever. $3, you try it out for 7 days. If you like it, you can continue. and then it's $97 a month. I'll get into what's in it. You can try it out for $3. Inside of there is our real estate software that you can try out as well. You get to try this out, and it's all inside this thing. So for $3, you can check out the university and everything included. I want to show you what's in there so you at least see it, and you can try it out, see if you like it, okay? So when you come into this thing, you're going to get access to all this stuff, the Real Estate Radar software to try out. We have our premier communities in there you're going to get. Raising Capital Starter Kit, you're going to get that. Our deal analyzers, you get that. Our financials course, you get that. Our starter kit, Business in a Box. What's cool with this is this was by request. People said, hey, I need help setting up my LLC. I need help with a CRM and like an investor website that's all templated, ready to go. And then I can go in there and customize it on my own or hire somebody to do it, but it's all set. It's templated. Business in a Box, you get it as part of the university program. Our creative financing, right? Creative financing and OPM. It's a whole thing on there. Our masterclass academy, our 7-day challenge, 5-day challenge that I'm talking about starting. That's why I wanted to ask everybody here tonight, because you're going to get that for free. Not $47, by the way. You get it for free. But I wanted to find out if you'd pay $47. Now that I know you would, but everybody who comes into the university, you're going to get the 5-day challenge for free, and we're going to be setting that up and going in depth in a live training for that. Our events are in there too, and then real estate tax hacks. So it's our full-blown university system. You get also on top of that, the back-end community. Let me see if that's in here. I can pull that up for you real quick. In here, and then there, and then you get your groups. So also in the back end is our whole groups that we have. Our main one in there is about 4,300 members that are in there now. We also have a super small one that's set up. That's a premier one. That's more for people that are in kind of I'd say the paid mentorship program / our university system. So it's higher level entrepreneurs and people doing deals. You get access to both. You get access to both. And you'll see this in the back end of the university. You're going to get access to this, to try this out. This is really cool. This is our whole AI building software that we put together. We've been using it for ourselves for a while now, but it's going to give you commercial leads for multifamily. It also gives you single family for flipping and wholesaling, all the above. That's pretty slick. And you can try that out as well inside the back end of the system. Once again, thank you to all for tonight. Despite our little difficulties, we were rocking and rolling. Yeah, Kyle, hope you become a part of the team too. Jump on in. Start with the university if you want, and then come into everything else later. I mean, we have a mentorship program, but some people aren't ready for that yet. And so it's a great way to kind of get in, get comfortable, get to know us a little bit. We get to know you. And then that way, when you're ready, you can always upgrade. You can always upgrade. But this is going to give you a ton of resources and tools while you're getting ready. So, perfect. Awesome, everybody. Thanks so much. And then you'll get a text message that'll have these links and stuff just so you can follow up if you haven't already.